Hi guys, I'm Miss Loveland from Carnes Middle School, and today we're going to be reviewing ancient China. The purpose of this lesson is to review the material you have covered earlier this semester in ancient China. The materials you need are the documents about ancient China from our 6th grade textbook, paper to create your flyer, the assessment page, and, of course, a pencil. Today we will be doing the following tasks: reviewing Chinese dynasties and watching a short video, analyzing the documents about ancient China, deciding which dynasty made China the strongest, creating a flyer about that dynasty, and completing the review assessment. Let's first watch this video from Studies Weekly about ancient China.
The first real emperor of ancient China was Qin Shi Huang. Born Yin Shang in 259 BC, he united the different kingdoms in 221 BC and ruled them all. He established a standard writing system, money, weights, and measures. He built roads and erected beautiful palaces in the capital, Xi'an. The empire he forged turned out to be so strong it has survived for thousands of years and is even named for him. The word China comes from one of his names, Qian. Of course, that makes it sound like he was a benevolent and enlightened ruler, but he wasn't. Definitely not by modern standards. He didn't like scholars or books, burying some scholars alive and burning many, many books, including those by Confucius. He thought education for the common people took time away from growing crops. Emperor Qin's rule was so cruel that he lived in fear that he would be harmed in retaliation. It's said he rarely slept in the same palace 2 nights in a row. He also sent decoys who resembled him to meetings where his life might be in danger. He died in 210 BC after drinking a potion he thought would give him eternal life. One of Qin's most lasting achievements was the famous Great Wall of China. Around the year 220 BC, Emperor Qin began the huge undertaking of connecting the many different walls around China, some that were as old as 400 BC, and forging one enormous wall to keep out invaders. Built entirely by hand, the Great Wall snakes up mountain ranges, down into valleys, and across the deserts of northern China, stretching close to 4,300 miles. It's about 25 feet high and 15 to 30 feet wide. In addition to defense, the wall provided a way to transport men and supplies throughout China and to communicate with smoke signals. More than 2,000 years later, it continues to be one of the wonders of the world. After Emperor Qin died, Liu Bang became the first emperor of the Han dynasty. Under the Han, China was no longer isolated, and it was during this time that the Silk Road was established, which was a network of trade routes between China and the ancient Western lands. China traded their silks and spices with the people of India, Persia, Arabia, North Africa, and even Europe. The nomadic traders who crossed the Silk Road took a dangerous trek, facing bandits, harsh climates, and rough terrain. But eventually, Chinese goods found their way to cities as far away as Rome. The Forbidden City is another amazing sight in China, often associated with its ancient past. But compared to the Great Wall and the terracotta soldiers, it's positively modern. Only 600 years old, that is. It was home to emperors during the Ming and Qing dynasties. Construction began on the palace in 1406, and millions of workers labored to build it over 14 years. When the Forbidden City was completed, a 26-foot wall and a 20-foot moat kept people out. For 500 years, most people were forbidden to enter the palace that 24 emperors called home, hence the name, the Forbidden City. With 900 rooms and 800 buildings, it's the world's largest palace complex. In 1949, it was open to all citizens of China and is now a museum.
watching that video, let's review the Chinese dynasties. This chart reviews the geography of China as well as early agricultural settlements. But the bottom two boxes are where we want to look. The first dynasty is the Shao dynasty. It is a legendary dynasty that has no archaeological evidence. It is believed to be founded by Yu the Great around 2200 BC. There are many legends about the Shao rulers. The Shang dynasty is the first dynasty that has clear archaeological evidence. This is the first dynasty that had a social order as well as the first system of writing. The next dynasty is the Zhou dynasty. The Zhou dynasty began in the 1100s BC and went through a lot of philosophical beliefs. They had three major philosophies that came about during this time: Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism. Confucianism was led by the important leader Confucius, and he believed in a moral society, moral leadership, not really laws, but having respect, children respecting their parents and bringing order to China that way. Legalism was quite different. Legalism believed in a very strict government, believed in very strict laws and keeping everyone in line, and that everyone should obey those laws no matter what. Another important part of the Zhou dynasty is the Warring States period. This was a time when many of the important states in the area were fighting against each other. It was a civil war that lasted for many, many years. Another important part of the Zhou dynasty is the mandate of heaven. The Zhou leaders believed that they had a mandate of heaven which gave them the right to rule. If they lost that mandate, then they believed that they did not have the right to rule anymore, and the people believed that as well. Another dynasty is the Qin dynasty. This dynasty came about after the Warring States period, and its important emperor was Emperor Shi Hongdi. He is credited as the first emperor of China. He had very strict laws. He believed in legalism. He did, however, unify China after the Warring States period, but he was very strict. He had standard writing system, standard money system, standard weight system, but these also led to good things like network of roads and canals across all of China and irrigation routes that helped the farmers. He also started building the Great Wall of China. The last dynasty we're going to look at is the Han dynasty. The Han dynasty was led by Liu Bang, who was the emperor of this dynasty, the first emperor of this dynasty, and he basically wanted to take them away from the harsh rule that they had seen under the Qin dynasty. So he believed in freeing the people from those harsh government rules and allowing them to respect each other more, and he respected them more. He also led them with Confucianism as the official government philosophy. The last chart we're going to look at is the Silk Road. This shows us how the Silk Road played an important influence on China, how goods, services, and ideas were spread throughout all of China and into Europe. Let's look at our document-based investigation. We are going to look at 5 documents about ancient China: early writing, excerpts from the Antilects, the first emperor of China, excerpt from the Shiji, Chinese interactions with Rome. With each of these documents, we're going to analyze the document and answer the question in the space below. If you have internet access, you may answer the questions in the space provided. Here's what our documents look like. Our first document for early writing is the tortoise shell with the writing on it. Then we have an excerpt from the Antilects by Confucius. Then we have a chart on Emperor Shi Hongdi and his policies and achievements. The last two documents are an excerpt from the Shiji and then an excerpt that talks about how ancient China interacted with Rome by use of the Silk Road. This is what our document is going to look like. Each document has an introductory paragraph, the document itself, and then a question to analyze. If you have internet access, you may type in this box. Otherwise, just write on your document. Once you've analyzed each of the documents, it's time for you to be creative. Create a flyer. The question you're going to answer is, which dynasty had the greatest impact on China's development as a powerful empire? So create a flyer. Here's a sample box for you or a template for you. You can always create your own if you want to. It can also be electronic if you have technology, but feel free to do it on paper. This is your time to be creative. Use color, just be creative with it. We ask that you put a title, use evidence from the sources that we've provided, include an image. You can create your own image if you'd like, and add color, as I said. Be creative. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's your chance to show your creativity. Here are a couple of examples of flyers that have been created. These are about Athens and Sparta, so they won't help you much as far as the content for this, but it does give you an idea of what you can do. If you're an artist, you can illustrate your entire thing. It's whatever is good for you. If you like to write, then write about it. Be creative, have fun, and show us what you know. Finally, we've given you a summary article that tells you all about ancient China. So if you don't have access to the online textbook, no worries, you can access this document instead. After you've completed the flyer and the document analysis, then complete the 15-question multiple choice assessment. This helps you to see what you've learned about ancient China. If you'd like to dig deeper and learn more about ancient China, you can watch the following videos about ancient China, the Silk Road, and the Great Wall of China. Thank you for taking part in this review activity, and I hope that you're having a good extended break and that you and your family are healthy and safe.